get on there here. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I got a little screw up there.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll give you one. All right. Approval of tonight's agenda with flexibility.
I will approve that. Second.
Got a motion, you're making a motion, Greg, right?
I think you just
Oh,
did.
no, I was asking for.
Oh, I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda with flexibility.
Second.
Scott seconds that. Any other discussion? All in favor, right hands? Opposed, the same? Motion
Oh my
carries.
God, seriously?
Hey, it's gonna get worse.
Oh jeez.
Sorry, I'm going back to my fire department day, so.
Okay.
Approval of last month's minutes. Anybody have any changes or anything they need to do to those? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I wasn't a part of the last month.
Oh, that's true. I'll make a
Or,
motion.
sorry, last
week.
Last.
Well,
sorry.
you said last
Sorry,
month.
I apologize. Sorry, I'm getting my
Yeah,
fire department stuff starting to roll back out here, so.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve last meeting's minutes,
January 2nd meeting?
January 2nd.
Second?
A second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries.
This is like,
So clerk treasurer's report, the vouchers here, does everybody get a chance to look at it, or anybody like to look at it?
Yes,
I'd
yeah.
like to look at it. I gotta sign my name in.
Yeah. While you're doing that, just so you guys know, one of the things I learned during my newly elected officials training that I took in November is that vouchers, money related to, or votes related to money, they recommend that we take a roll call vote for those, so that way they're documented properly. So just thought I'd let you know where we're going, so. Any questions, concerns? I'll entertain a
Roll call
motion.
away, man.
Well, we gotta have a motion in a second.
How much are
So,
they? Is this Angela?
right there, yeah, it's normally Angela, but she's not here, so.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the vouchers as given to us for the amount of $43,681.31.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Roll call. Greg,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Andy, Brian,
Aye.
and mine's an aye as well. Motion passes. All right, town council new business. Request to apply for community crossings money. You guys should have it in your packet. The funding report and where that money will be come from. This is for the work that needs to be done in Brighton Park and Tonner Estates. We talked about it last year briefly about some concrete needs to be repaired, drain out inlets, curb lines, that kind of stuff. And you might have been here, Brian. I don't remember if you were here during those meetings or not, but Andy, I'm not sure you were.
No.
So, there's a lot of concrete failing and a lot of damage over there. So if we apply to community crossings, and Tina, correct me, what's the match on that?
75.25.
So, in your packet, you'll see that we've, Tina and Angela got together and came up with where we could pull that calculation from. Tina was saying that by the time the work would happen, there's a possibility that there could be some more fun in some of these that are, is that correct?
Yeah, so I suggested that we use a combination of funds, local road and street, and MVH restricted can only be used for specific things like paving and road projects. So we have a habit of not using the local road and street funds. So I suggest we use those first. And those do come in regular installments, so by the time we go to pay, there's maybe a little more in there. That's why I didn't give exact numbers, because we can pull from that first and then pull from the other funds what we need. So I suggest we use local road and street first, then come back with MVH restricted, and then if we still have to draw from another fund, we still have MVH. But this helps our MVH funds that aren't as restricted be saved for other things we need them for, like salaries.
So what we're looking to do here tonight is approve a financial commitment letter, right, to send to them to get this grant.
Yeah, just so we have permission to make the application, and we need the letter signed that says we have the funds. And Angela and I worked through the funds to make sure we have them
Right. So-
available. And you can see too, there is a portion of it that is stormwater items, because this started as a stormwater project, and we got quotes to repair just a few broken drains and manholes. And the stormwater, board said, well, that seems like a lot of money, but we can do that as part of this community crossing, because we need to rip out road to do this project, and there's more damaged sections than just where the manholes are. So this gives us a chance to do way more sections of road and curbs and add in the stormwater while we're at the same process.
So we're looking for a motion in a second to approve the town share, which would be $115,000.
I'll make a motion to give a letter of intent for the $115,177.25 town share for community crossing grant.
I second that.
Andy seconds.
Wait, it's 115,
177.
177.
25, which is the town share. And Andy seconded that. And this is just a letter of commitment saying that we have the funds available.
Yeah, that road's broken up to the
Right.
whole area, it's bad. I wonder if we can get county sheriff to kick in a little bit for that guy driving his squad car.
Car down it all the time.
Oh, yeah, Peters.
He's not even here tonight. So, any other discussion? Got a motion and a second on the floor. And I'll do a roll call again. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy?
All right.
Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion carries. So just cleaning up some stuff from the last meeting, that we had. So we have an executive order appointing a member of Plan Commission, to the BZA. Jerry McDaniels has agreed to do that. Blaine Whelan will be stepping on Plan Commission and as well, and Heather will not be on there. And then we have a resolution here, 24-01, reappointing all the members of the park board back on, which is Dave Gall, Amy Insel, Sue Ann Thompson, Dirk Schmidt, and Ron Turpin. So they've all agreed to be re-upped. So any discussion on that? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2024-01.
Got a motion on the floor? And this is just reappointing the park board back in.
I second that.
We got a second from Andy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hey Tyler,
Yes?
Tyler,
Well,
Yeah,
can I interject? It's a little hard for me to hear what's going on, but I'm trying to follow. And the executive order that's in my packet, and I should have pointed this out, or I just noticed it, it still refers to Jerry and Heather in there, although the signature page, has, Blaine instead of Heather. Like in the recitals, I don't think it matters, we can correct that.
Okay, yeah.
But I think we can go ahead and pass this and you can sign it, but we can replace the corrected page.
So that's an executive order that I'm appointing, so we can make that change. It was just a notice to these guys.
Yeah,
So we can make that change. We're onto the park board, which is, Tim is correcting it now. So, we're onto the park board,
Okay.
which is, the current members, Amy Insold, Dirk Schmidt, Dave Gall, Sue Ann Thompson, and, Ron Turpin, which that fulfills our requirements, for those members. There's very specific requirements for a few of those members. So, and I got a motion and a second on the floor for that. Greg and Andy. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries for the park board. And then we're also reappointing, members of the, stormwater board. So Larry Clark, Paul Steffens, and John Abel. So,
Larry was up for renewal, he agreed.
and Larry agreed. So, let's see here, move that up to there. The next piece is the nepotism policy signing. I have a copy here for each person. There's one in, purchasing, and then there's one in the hiring portion. This is a requirement by the state. It needs to be done every year, in January. And it just basically says that we'll follow the state, our policy in how it relates to nepotism. So, I just wanted it on public record that we are completing said task.
Yes.
Why isn't he here?
So, that's mine to do. So, while you guys are doing that, I'll start talking about internet service here for the town hall. Currently, we have MediaCom here at the town hall. The employees and us on Zoom and trying to meet the state's requirements to be online for all meetings by the end of this year. MediaCom is dropping out. They're seeing regular dropouts during the day. We've seen them here during meetings or right before meetings and have to reset gear. So I reached out to a fiber optic provider here in the area. And talking with them, we can basically get 200 by 100 broadband over fiber optic for $149 a month. And this will, we currently pay for internet, but then there's a government subsidy that comes back for the amount of people in town. So essentially it looks like our internet's free, but I don't think we can continue with the issues that they've been having to function in the town, things not working properly and issues with things. So it's $149. Speaking with the company, they offered us a 10% discount because we're a government entity. They're not big enough yet to handle. They're not like a MediaCom where they can offer the same packages yet. Eventually they may be able to, but they're not there yet. So it's $149 a month is what our internet cost would be, and then $149 installation fee. As part of that 10% discount, they did offer under the same bill, as long as we don't go over a data cap, which would be, or not a data cap, as long as we don't go over our usage, which is 200 by 100 megabytes per second, then they'll allow us to bring our parks on board. So they currently could get us to the Imagination Station, our Cedarville Park Pavilion. We could bring those cameras on board. We could offer internet down there for that same $149. And then once they jump the river, they haven't done that yet, but once they get across the river, then we would be able to have internet at our barn and at the splash pad for telemetry for that same $149. So, I guess I'm looking from you guys that as long as everything continues to pan out the way it is, that we can go ahead and move forward with with this and get our internet updated. At least start here and then move forward other
Who's the
places.
company?
It's Baseline Internet. So,
Any idea when you were talking to them by any chance, did they give you any idea when they're gonna jump the river? More like they're gonna crawl underneath it, but go ahead.
so there is a couple options that they could do. They're wanting to be there now. They've just hit a couple hurdles. So they have not said exactly.
Okay.
So he acted like it would be sooner than later, but with the bridge project starting, I don't know that it's going to happen until probably after that bridge project gets rolling, if I had to guess.
I don't think it'll be anytime soon because they were already coming across and Xfinity bought them out to do their work at a nice price. The guy that runs the thing, who's my old neighbor, and they ran it in my backyard and I went out there, they got all driving baseline trucks.
Yeah.
And I said, we getting baseline? No, Xfinity. They paid enough. So they didn't run it and then Xfinity's over there at my house.
So in talking to their office, their plan is to still put Baseline over there. It's just not there yet.
But they
So-
probably have to wait a certain amount.
I would
of time,
assume-
a year or
So,
something.
I don't know what the deal is, but I'm assuming there's a no compete clause in there or something. But because I did speak about the Riverside Gardens and possibility of doing telemetry on that stuff. I did speak about the barn over there with security and the possibility of maybe needing internet there in the future. I talked to Jan a little bit about the parks in Cedarville Park and the Pavilion. They're losing rentals right now because they don't have internet there during the day, and businesses want to go in there and use it, but they can't without internet. And they got a quote from either Comcast or Mediacom, and it was like $169 or $179 a month just for that one location. So I did speak to Don Branson at Marathon Technology group tonight because I wanted to make sure I understood how the internet would work down there and what the Parks Department has planned. If they get internet down there, will work, which would be you get an access code at the end of your rental. That access code is automatically deleted out of the system. So that way we wouldn't have free public internet down there eating up our bandwidth. It'd only be if you're in there for a rental. So I just look for, I guess, a consensus from us here tonight that 149 is which would be minus 10%, would be a good route to go, plus the 149 installation.
What are we paying now?
Angela, do you have that number?
Yeah, we currently pay $105 a month.
105 a month?
Uh-huh.
So, but we do get a kickback for their sales in the town, right? Is that correct? A certain amount per year?
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't know how that government program works. It seems interesting to me, but that's not my problem. I didn't set it up.
It's based off of how many people sign up in the town.
We spend 105. Well, they came to us a long time ago and said, hey, this is what we want to do in your town, and we're going to be on this side, or we're going to be here, we're going to be everywhere, we're not just going to do Lionsgate and Pioneer Village, and we're going to have a substation, we're going to bring stuff in from Indianapolis and Chicago, we'll never have down lines, and I was meeting with them on a regular basis to help with complaints that weren't their issues, because
Right.
Q quality was in here
Yep.
and everything. And then all of a sudden, they just disappear. After they ran that across for Xfinity, they just disappear. And it's like, no answers, it's like a ghost. And so I'm a little worried about, having the ball dropped if we go with them. I mean,
I've had them since I was like customer number 3 in
Right.
Leo, and I've had very minimal issues. I know some other businesses in the area that have had them and they've had minimal issues. I can't speak to, I've heard some reasons why they didn't go under the river or over the river. Over here, I heard rumors that they had, and there were some issues after they had. So I'm not afraid of the company. I think the company is a good company. The internet they're providing me is great. I've never had an issue with that. It's never been down. And I'm on the very, very bottom of the plan. I mean, I'm not paying for any of the frills. And I'm clocking when I do my speed test at what they say they're getting, actually more than what they give me. So if I actually go right to the router, I actually have more than what they say.
Well, that would be different.
Yeah. So, now if I'm on Wi-Fi, it's a little off, but you're passing over nothing, so you can't guarantee it's gonna work well. So, like I said, the company's been good. They've been good to work with. I work with, through the church, I work with them pretty regularly on their stuff there. They provide the internet there, and they've been great there as well. I just don't know why they didn't go that direction.
I think my feelings are more based on, disappointment than anything. So probably that's, probably not a good reason to even, bring it up, I guess, but I did, so. Just bring it up and have it out there. And
Yep.
if you don't think it's important, then we'll move forward, so.
I've had some dealings with the owner. He dealt with me. I was happy with how it ended, so unlike the other company that was in here.
Mediacom's just not good.
And that wasn't QC,
Yeah, but they're not.
yeah.
I dropped all the time in my house. They ran Xfinity back there, and I'm not sure it's ever dropped.
Right.
And I mean, it's
And that's as far as they went too, isn't it? Xfinity, where'd they go? Because we weren't off at our house.
I don't know.
It's
They're
not to
back
the end of
there.
your edition.
No, it's in my backyard. I went
Yeah.
out there and started talking to them. And it's just what I did because they had baseline. I couldn't wait to get rid of Mediacom.
Right.
I didn't care who it was. Whoever it was going to
I
be
got
hooked up.
Xfinity.
So mine works great. So what are you looking for? A motion, I'm assuming?
I would like to move forward with this.
Just a general consensus?
I don't, Tim, do we need a motion to spend, since it'll be a monthly bill with an install, or do we need?
I mean, our practice is to do consensus, but I never have a problem with you guys doing it by motion, having it seconded and confirmed.
Okay,
I mean, on anything really, to be honest.
alright, so I would take a motion to
I'll make
move
a
forward
motion
with this.
that we get baseline for the $150 a month and $150 install, and Angela can keep it up.
I think it sounds like a fair price, I mean, especially if they're gonna throw in the,
Yeah, I mean, in
The
talking to
hall
the
and-
owner,
Both parks?
yeah.
Both parks.
yeah.
Yeah, he's willing to do any of our buildings for that price, as long as we don't go over that 200 by 100, and talking to Don Brandstetter, who is with Marathon, our technology company, he said, we'll never, with what we're doing, we're never gonna go over a 2 by 1. He said, we're not even anywhere near that right now. He said, the most we're gonna use is like a night like tonight.
It'd be like a 1-year contract, so try them out for a year.
Yeah, I mean, well, there it's monthly, so we can walk away whenever,
Even better.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, I think it's worth
it's
it.
a no-brainer.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
I'll second that.
So Brian second, Scott. I'll do roll call. Greg,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Andy,
aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm aye as well. Motion carries. So we got our go bags for the town as well as an AED. It's in here. And Ben is ready to come bring his staff and train us on using the go bags, as well as the AEDs, and make sure that we're all ready. At that point, he'd like Mr. Leakey to come as well, because I think you have some of them, is that correct? So, and whoever you want trained on them. He would like to open it to the community a little bit, but he understands if we want to try to keep it a little tighter, but, so is there a day and a time, I guess, that would work, is what he's looking for, that works better, evenings, days? He doesn't really care, he just,
Saturday at 7 a.m.
Saturday at 7 a.m., that seems a little specific.
I'm joking.
I mean,
Bad joke.
Bad
Bad joke.
Yeah.
so, I don't know that we have to come up with, it said it's gonna take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes So they do a little training, and then they give us some time to work with the bags and work with the ADs and stuff like that.
Well, when we,
Well, who all is gonna attend, like, is all of our paid staff attending, I'm
Yes.
assuming?
I think we probably need to do it like either late afternoon or in the morning one morning, if we're all gonna get trained on it. We just need to pick it. I think it's important that the people who are paid get it, probably more than us who are in the building.
Yeah, no argument on me.
Yeah, less regularly.
If somebody
well,
misses or doesn't.
we
make
block
it.
two, so,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but he's, like I said, he's willing to get as many people in as we can do. We just need to make sure we get it scheduled and get it squared away. So I'm thinking, 10, like an afternoon work for the guys, you think, or what?
Could, and we have staff meetings on Mondays at 9:30,
Okay.
so we're already blocked for that time, most of us.
So you want to shoot for like a 10:15 that, on a Monday? Yeah, I don't.
And it doesn't, I
That's
suppose if you guys want.
What do
to
you want,
attend,
Greg?
it probably does work
That
for
won't
you.
work for us. My wife works on Mondays.
Okay.
But that's fine. Don't worry about us. We can always, go over to the fire department and sit down with Ben. So
Yeah.
don't worry about us. Get the employees taken. care of.
Robin, what works for you?
I would do a 1 in the morning
I'll be flexible.
and then maybe 1 in early evening.
Yeah, he would do it whatever we want. So if we want to do one in the morning and then turn around and do like a 5 o'clock or something in the evening or 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm sure he'd come over and do it again. So does that sound like if we kind of shoot out some dates to you guys, that'd be good for you guys? Go from there.
We could probably do 6. She gets off at 5:30, so that'd be good.
Okay. So we'll put together, so I'll have Tenna and the office here work on some dates for them, and then we'll try to schedule that same day, maybe in the evening, around 6 o'clock. So. Last meeting, Scott brought up town council meeting times, in particular, in general, but also in particular in the summer months. Last summer we went to 5. I don't know that it changed our attendance all that much being at 5 versus 6. So,
Well, we could get some public input tonight.
yeah. Robin?
Hey, Robin.
Yeah, and I appreciate you wanting to do that, and actually, it's the winters that I'm able to come earlier in the summer, it's actually back.
Because you work outside.
Yeah.
But I'm working late on them, but it is what it is, so I just probably would miss a lot more in the summer. But if you want to move it up in the winter, that's probably okay.
But even 6 o'clock in the summertime, when it doesn't get dark till 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're busy.
That's why he's
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
That's why he makes
And I
his
get
money.
it.
But it doesn't have to go back to 7. I mean, 6 in the summer is great for me, but I know, do what you want to do, but, I just know there's probably a lot of I can't do. It's not all about me.
What do you guys
I'm
feel?
okay with 5.
Yeah, no problem.
Do we want to do it like a set summer schedule, or you want to do it all year?
I'm good all year, but if not a hard set would be the next
Ideal.
best option. And especially if 5 didn't bother him in the winter, because for me, 5 to 6, go home and have supper.
Right.
And for drive a lot, it's a lot
Yeah,
handier. I know. But it's nice to get home.
So, we want to set it, say like March 1st?
Let's get everybody's input.
Yeah, start on like March.
Do you want a year round or a date?
I say we just set it.
Forget it.
Yeah.
So you tried this before and
We
was
did it
there?
last year.
We did it last summer.
So just in the summertime, were
Yeah.
the people that didn't like it?
Unfortunately, the guy that didn't like it is here.
Sitting here.
That's why we're talking to him.
Yeah.
You know, though, not me, but just in general, most of the people are going 9 to 5, so unless they're here for a specific topic or reason, they're not gonna come. I mean, they can watch it later, but they won't be here to put any input in the meeting or anything like that. That's, unless they're directly affected by what's on the agenda.
Well, I think we can set it now or do it now, whatever, and then plan mailer, I think we ought to throw it on there too, because we'll get the most feedback then, and that'll be our best thing to measure that.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, we can do whatever you guys feel. He can be here at 5, I'm good with that, I'm good with 6 though too.
Right.
So, we can do whatever, put it on there, let's get the feedback.
Yeah, I like that. That's,
And we
that's
can-
my only concern. Personally, I'm fine with it, just didn't know if it was a,
Well, I never thought of that till just now, so.
Mr. Manning said, would you like to make an motion? And then we'll just move it and be done with it?
You wanna ready to do 5 now, or?
I say, I mean, if we're gonna pull the trigger, I say we pick it, like the first meeting in February, it'll be at 5, and we'll go 5.
I'll make a
Until-
motion, February 1st on. We start our meetings at 5 o'clock, pending, review from the mailer.
Got a motion
a second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I got
Opposed,
you.
the same. Motion carries.
It's still the first and second Tuesday.
Yeah, it'll still be the first and second, but it's just starting
Very
February,
good.
the first day of February, yeah.
Who seconded
The reason I asked is because it should be in the minutes, so it reflects that date and time.
So yeah, it'll still be the first and what, third?
Yeah.
So it'd start February 6th. No, I need to change them all.
Yeah, February 6th will be at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, town manager's report. Let her finish it.
So you, did you say roll something
It was
No money
unanimous.
involved.
There's really, no action items that I had that haven't been addressed already. I didn't know if you had any questions. I can tell you that probably the most exciting thing this week is that the Cedar Creek Trail project has gone from the question part where the contractors came last week, asked questions, addendums were prepared to answer the questions. They have been submitted to the website and uploaded for all the people who have the materials for making their quotes and giving us bids. That's all out available to them. Mostly the questions they had for the engineers were clarifications on quantities of items and some things like that. So it was nothing that caused any major changes, just clarifications. So this week, on the 18th at 10 a.m., we will open the bids here, and that will be me and the engineers. We will open the bids, and then we will put them together and check all of, make sure they have all the proper paperwork filed with their bids, and then present them to you at that first February meeting. You're of course welcome to be here if you want to be here at that time, but I think it's easier for you if you get it all, the materials all that have been checked and verified. Do you have questions for me?
I don't know.
Do we know when the emails will be set up for us? Any?
I don't know. Angela's been working with the state on getting our, the transition of the emails, and I know she's working with them diligently, but it takes time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just didn't know if you had a timeline.
I haven't heard anything as
Don's coming,
Go ahead.
Don's coming in next week, and we should get the process started then.
Oh, nice.
Oh, great.
I'm excited.
Aren't you? Another email? Any other questions for Tina?
How are we coming on a new mailer plan? I know we talked about it hot and heavy last fall. It's kind of fallen off. That needs to be my opinion, and that's all this is. Pretty upfront right now. And, I mean, we should be ready to mail them soon. And I know we're probably nowhere near, because it did fall off the radar, but how can we get this back on track? And that is really for everybody.
Well, as part of those conversations, we've identified that the Envision comp plan needs to be updated. And to do that, you hire a consultant, and like we did last time, because I read through the plan, and you all hired a consultant, it took months, but the consultant ties in the survey questions and meets with us to make sure we have everything we want on there. And that's one of the first steps of public engagement, to do the comp plan, is to get that feedback. So, I mean, I could roll out a survey and then we hire a consultant and they would want us to do something different, so.
We had this same conversation 4 or 5 months ago, and we're having it again.
So I have reached out to NERC, who helped us in the past, and she gave me the state's standards for how to do the process. I printed those off today. I'm starting to collect names of companies to send those requests for qualifications to. And then I have to prepare a very formal document that each company would respond to. And it's very time consuming, and I've started on it, but I have not gotten much further.
And we haven't talked a lot about it, so it's not, I
legwork.
know it hasn't been high priority, but we need to start making it one. And I don't even know what it consists of. I know we gotta hire, but
Yeah, so I've started that process, at least of doing the legwork to find out. I asked for sample RFQs, I've received a couple of those, so that I can use a model that spells out what all the things we need that consultant to accomplish. And I'm.
What's a realistic timeline on what we think we could be to go to RFQ, or RFPs?
I'd like to be able to get it out in the next month.
I'd be impressed.
And then we have to, amongst ourselves, form a small committee. It's usually like 2 council members, myself, somebody. And that committee would evaluate the applicants', packages, and then score them on a very formal scoring grid. And that would help us decide who we think is the most qualified. And then you find out how much it costs, and then we go from there.
So can we set a goal of, like, the last,
The next, the second meeting of February.
that would be pushing it at this point.
Well,
With a
see
month.
where we're at and go from
But-
there.
So let's say so whatever that is, the second meeting in February would be our goal to at least, have proposals to,
Does anybody know, like, the surrounding towns, has anybody done this lately? Maybe we could.
Greg, you raised your hand.
Go ahead.
No, so that way we could kind of maybe piggyback off them if they've already, like, done the last 24 months. Let's rub some of their stuff or borrow it, for lack of better words. I mean, there's no reason to put her through it all if someone's got it all right here.
Right, but we still have to do somebody to move the plan for us, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
but
So, the
Could maybe
second goal
help.
of February, I make that a goal to bring the RFQ to you for approval so that we can send it out.
go.
Greg, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I've also been talking to other people, and actually Angela and I had a meeting with a gentleman from Greater Fort Wayne, and then I asked Angela to come over also, and he had some really good ideas, and I think we need to get back in touch with him, because he seemed to think that we were not really too far away. He's the one that encouraged us to get soil samples and to get what's it called with the
Topograph.
the topographical of
Land.
the land down there. Well, it was specific for the
I know about the land.
Jeez,
called
oh,
there.
Pete.
Hempstead's and Hostler.
Yeah, for the soil litigation for the soil for the
Thanks, Robert.
geez, oh Pete, this is terrible tonight. For the swamp.
Yeah.
To get that, and then she came and talked to us, remember?
Yep.
And we were trying to get the soil samples done, but the soil samples didn't get done. But they'll get done here when the ground is unfrozen. But I'm gonna try to start taking baby steps too, and that's why I sent out, communicate to you guys to find out who wants to be on the board, the board to kind of see this through and meet with other people in the community. I talked to 2 other people today in the community to see if they'd be interested in being on this committee. Talking to David, David today. I didn't call Tim, it was David. And he agrees that if we have more than one councilman, which we can, then we have to post every meeting on the door. More than two. What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said
more than one.
Oh, I'm sorry, but
I
if
think
we have more
one
than two,
additional.
it's no big deal,
Sure.
but we have to post every meeting. So,
In accordance to the state, so we'd have to post it.
we'd have to post it every
Yeah.
time we wanted to have a meeting, which would really.
Yeah, open door law.
Which would slow things down a little bit, because if we wanted to have a short meeting and go over things, we couldn't do that. So, but what my communique today with you guys is, that doesn't mean that your input is not 100% always there. You know, it's like, if we're sitting in a meeting and we need something, you know, we reach out as soon as we can and ask you. But, I mean, it is what it is, so I want to be on that committee because I've been kind of trying to push this along a little bit. And so you guys decide, whoever else wants to be on it, that's fine. Andy expressed some interest, you did, Scott.
It did too, so it doesn't matter.
So I guess we need to clarify what I mean, are we just going through the topograph and the soil samples and gonna allow the study of the community to come out and say what we do with that property, or are we in a direct line for, we only have one option to do and that's it?
When can they do that, Robin, the spring, roughly, the roundabout time?
For soil samples? I mean, they can do it now if we really wanted to. That's all drill.
That's just a drill.
So they, I mean, once they bust through the top 6 inches, they can do it whenever.
Right.
The only thing I ask is that if they do it, that we make sure we restore it to something of, so we don't tear up equipment while we're still.
Right, there's no reason to raise, I mean, this goes hand in hand with our survey,
Right.
so.
So then,
That's kind of, is that what you were trying to ask?
Yeah, like I don't wanna have an end goal and then the community come back and say, well, we want a swimming pool there and not a building, or we want.
well, that's where your committee comes in hand, and like some of those things we've already even talked about and worked out with like Derek and I and Jake Fetters from Mosaic and stuff, and talked about things, and Tana was involved, and it's like, you know, there's certain little things like swimming pools and stuff that are just a money drain, excuse the pun, but I mean, it is.
Right.
And it's a liability, it's a money drain, and so little things like that were scratched off the list, you know. But that's what this is all about. I mean, it's like I presented you guys before. Well, not some of you, I haven't, but with a basic outlook and an idea of what we can do with that property, and from there we'll just grow with it with the committee. You know, that's what the committee's all about. So,
I think we need to have community buy-in before we start spending a bunch
okay.
of money.
We allocated $50,000 to move forward with this. Now, according to Tana, when we met for lunch the other day, she's thinking before this all gets done and around, it'll be a year from now before we get all these mailers out, and then
Well, the whole process.
The whole process.
Last time it took Leo-Cedarville 11 months.
right.
From forming the committee to rolling out the envision plan. And that's because there were community meetings, there were stakeholder meetings, there was, you know, then they put it together in a package, they rolled it out, they took feedback, they brought it back, they tweaked it, and they rolled it back out. So,
We don't need to be doing all that.
but to do the comprehensive plan, that pretty much needs to happen.
I mean, we need to do it, we need to go forward, we need to have meetings, I get all that, but we don't need to make this hard on ourselves either.
So the committee, there's two things here. To do the request for qualifications, I just need a very small committee to help score those applicants to be our guide. Then there's this community center project, and I think that's maybe a separate group of people, you know, moving maybe side by side as we're going. It sounds like if we want to move it faster, that's running at the same time that we're also trying to lay out the whole community plan. And one of the key pieces, and why I keep going to the comp plan, is I keep being told to go find funding. I can't get good funding without a comp plan, and ours is considered expired because it's over 10 years old. So it puts us in a catch-22.
I think the the use of that property is gonna really tie well into our study. And I think we need to move forward with certain aspects of it. But unfortunately, I think we need to also listen clearly to what the community has for us on that.
I agree, and there's different ways of doing that other than going through that envision plan. You could put an article in the local paper and then also set up our website to take a poll. We did this before. It was kind of done wishy-washy last time, but we could finite that, you know, and we could make that. That's the beauty of the internet. I mean, I think there's a quicker way of finding out if it would be accepted more than not accepted.
Right.
And what was the last project we did where we approached it that way?
What was it?
Well, and we got like 200, 250 or something.
What was it?
I remember going out, but I don't remember what it was for. I wasn't on, I just was
Yeah, that's
at many of those meetings during that time.
That was my first go around on console. And I cannot remember what it was, but remember we pushed it back out.
Right.
We did it twice.
We did it twice because it wasn't put out in the paper like it should have been with the address and the QR code and all that stuff, so they could click on it. It was just put out there on the internet, and people didn't see it because not everybody. I mean, nobody wakes up in the morning with a cup of coffee and go, "Well, I think I'm going to check the Leo-Cedarville."
Yeah, and if
They don't do that.
If we do something separate, it really needs to be options on that as well and write-in, not community center or not. I mean, that's the idea of doing surveys is here's 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, fill in the blank. I mean,
So what type of
people
community
love
center
options.
are
People love
we
options.
suggesting, or
This
if we send out a survey and say it's gonna be a community center,
We
what
gotta
are we
be
talking
detailed,
about?
yeah.
we have it, you know, somewhat detailed. Before this has been in the making now for probably close to 3 years.
Yeah.
Longer. I was on.
Was it
water,
longer?
And we started doing that, pocket parks.
Oh,
Remember
that's
all
right.
that?
That's right. And
So-
and through the course of
6 years, 5 or
and
6.
through the course of politics, it was scrubbed. But all those plans that Derek and Mr. Fetters put together is all still in their files. And every time we need something or tweak something, but basically what it is it's a community center. We're gonna move the offices down there. We'll have our chambers down there, and there'll be a community center big enough that we can rent out. At one point in time, my plan was to have it big enough to rent 500 people, could rent that, and we could actually make money on it, a venue type thing.
That's kind of what I was wondering, is this something?
Yeah.
So you're talking more of a town offices with a rental space versus a gymnasium?
That's the way it was all laid out and everything else.
Than a
And
true community center.
the community center actually had dividers in it, and it had one, if not two, really small stainless steel areas for warming food or cooking food, like down there. They laid it out pretty cool. And on the far end of it, at that time, Chief Hirschberger and I were, he was actually working with me a little bit on it. And because I told him that at that time they wanted to get internet out here for the guys, so we were putting a small room on the end of it that the police officers would have keys for. They could go in, it would be separate from the building, it'd be clear on the end, and they could go in and out of there whenever they wanted to, write their reports so they'd have internet, use the restroom, whatnot, you know. No holding facility or anything like that. It would just be it would be office space for them. Because in the future, to be honest with you, there's plans for pocket things like this to go out in different communities. That's still probably in play because that was his dream as a chief, a deputy chief. So as he's sheriff now, I imagine it's going to go forward. So
How many square feet were we talking about, like, when you put the,
I don't really remember, but I will tell you the high end of it, they were figuring that I didn't have the political backing at the time, or I did at the time, and then things kind of shifted. But they were figuring 2 or 3 years down the road, and they were figuring increases. It was about 6 million at the time, but that also included a dog park. It included four pickleball parks, and there was,
That seems low, because the pickleball we just had quoted 2 years ago was $1 million for 4 of them.
yeah, it's 50,000 a quarter.
We're looking at $20 million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
what
looked
I'm
at,
telling you, there's,
That
that is,
percent?
yeah.
50, I thought the pickleball courts were
we can put them
50,000
in
a
for
piece.
seven.
No, it was ridiculous, the prices we got.
Okay.
Yeah, it was,
But
it
but
came back
anyway,
astronomical.
they figured,
'Cause
they
they didn't wanna
figured
do it.
6 million to build it with the specs that we had.
This is pre-COVID,
And,
it's 10.
yeah, and with the office spaces for everybody and everything, so.
So this vision is less of a community center, more of a rental space that has spaces for our town offices.
Well,
No, feel
even
free.
at the
I'll
time,
just
it
send the
was
home
brought up that a community
I got
center,
that
I
stuff.
mean,
Really, I'm just
if,
curious.
if there was things that we could do there, you know, there was even talk of using COVID money because, you know, if something happened and people needed to come in mass numbers like we did over at the Miro Center, they could do it there. I mean, there was other, you know, thought put into this.
I just don't want to duplicate. I mean, this is so coming from my perspective. We're gonna be running hard into this comp plan for the next, say, 9 months. I don't want to be running 2 directions, and the comp plan runs us this direction. It doesn't align with our vision or our past vision of the current property, and we invest dollars and time and money into something that's not going to come to fruition.
I don't either. We've done that several times in the past with things, especially downtown things, and we've wasted a lot of money.
Well, and that's what my concern is that we're going to somehow get down the road here and we're going to diverge off. And I know we're saying, okay, we can run different mailers or different questions, but as we start going into the comp plan and regular, larger scale meetings for a larger vision, then we're going to see that separate from the small scale we may get in a small questionnaire.
So forming a committee, I think, is important, but I think getting community involvement in this is priority 1. So getting it out there to them, however we do, to let them know that this is what we want to do with the land. I guess back up even more, we got new people here. Maybe they don't want anything to do with this. You know, they know what's going on here, so maybe we should be talking about that, and then see about going forward as a solidarity group, and then put it out there, get public input, get the public behind it, and move forward.
In a perfect world, Tenna, which we don't live in, how soon could this questionnaire, do you think, go out? I don't have a clue. Does anybody else, I guess, have an idea?
I mean, after we would approve, we'd get bids back or get groups back to do it, we're probably looking at April or beginning of May. At best.
I don't know what, I mean, if you're saying we do that without the consultant? like-
No, with the
No.
consultant, we hire the
So
consultant.
Yeah,
I
do
would
it.
imagine that would be one of their first things they would want to tackle.
That's what we did the last time.
That's what I would think
So
too,
we're
that's why I'm
thinking
asking.
Too.
If we,
Because we couldn't move forward the last time without knowing what the town wanted.
Right.
That's why we sent out 3,000 mailers the last time, and we got 1,800 back. I
This is
mean,
a pretty detailed description of what you're trying to.
there was a three-page questionnaire in there, and it asked you several different questions about, you know, what kind of housing you want, what kind of parks do you want, what do you want to do with the river, do you want to develop the river?
Okay.
I mean, how many parks would you like to
Sidewalk
see?
was in there.
Yeah, sidewalks, blah, 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 blah. It went
Downtown
through with
Yeah.
several things.
Yeah, I remember
Downtown was
seeing
a
you do
whole
that.
chapter, because so
Well,
many
it's
people
been
had
a long
feedback.
time.
Yeah.
What year do you think it was, Heather?
The first time or the second time?
Either
First
one.
time was like papers that came in the mail.
Yeah.
We still lived in that house. That was a long time ago.
so the comp plan was originally done in what, 2012?
It was finished in 2013.
So
Started
12.
2012.
So it's been a minute.
Number one.
So, like, that's the point, is I don't wanna invest, I mean, I think we need to go down the road of getting core samples and getting the soil tested, we need to get it topographed, we need to, Probably have some loose leaf ideas of what we could do with that area, but I don't wanna be so, me personally, I wouldn't be in favor of being so tight on an idea that when we diverge, we're gonna be thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars in a direction.
Well, we need to do that no matter what.
Right.
If we can
Right.
get this out April or May,
Right.
we'll have results right then in front of us.
And I don't have a problem with this small group or committee or community members. We can probably start some of this pre-work to this mailer, getting hey, this area might be nice for this, and we can add that to our questionnaire. But I don't think it's wise of us to spend a huge amount of time or.
Well, Kirk said he would work with us, he was very interested in getting us going. He was very interested in a couple other projects out here too, that we talked to him about, and he was very, very.
From Greater
interested.
Fort Wayne, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And
We
he,
want
and
them guys involved.
the dude is like,
Right.
They do a nice job.
yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I don't
Just
know
think
them or don't know
in
them, but you know what I mean, it's
no
like,
more than 4 months, we'll have a mailer back.
right.
And if there's 10% that want a community center, obviously it's not good. If there's 80% on there that want it, well then clearly it's.
But I
we
want to
can
make
take
sure that
off.
our vision of community center equals too, because when I think of a community
Yeah.
center, I think of basketball courts, volleyball
Yeah.
courts,
Yeah,
tennis
that's right.
courts,
Yeah.
pickleball, all that stuff, multi-purpose rooms, so you can have a place if you need a big reception. That's what I think of when I think of community center. I don't think of a meeting room and some offices.
I think of high school dances.
I know.
That's me.
So, I guess that's my thought process
Yeah.
behind it
Yeah.
is I want to make sure that if it is a community center, that community center vision aligns with exactly what the town
Right.
wants.
And that is what's gonna spur off of first finding out, we already know what's going on with the swamp, okay?
Right.
And, the wetlands, correct, probably. And now we find out, hey, the soil is good, we can use it, or
Right.
that'll change everything right there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we need to move. We have money in there to do that. We can get that scheduled. We're probably looking at
Right,
30 to 40 days out, even if we pull the trigger tomorrow.
right.
So I think we can start making steps in the right direction. I just want to make sure that whatever the end process is the right process. So,
Plus, something you didn't mention, I'm agreeing with what you said, but, Tana also mentioned our plan is out to date. It affects grants, correct? That's gonna help pay for some of this stuff
'cause
that comes in the,
Yeah.
back from the community.
In
And
theory,
I have
like,
been also keeping an eye out for funding opportunities, and there's a couple coming down the road, that we might be able to make this project fit, but, they haven't laid out like the ground rules yet, but I've been hearing like there's more funding coming down. You've probably been hearing it too from our community engagement, stuff like that, and, we can't qualify for some of the grants through the state, but that's why I'm starting to look for these other side opportunities, next level kind of stuff. Cause we don't meet the poverty numbers for community development block grants, for example.
Well, I mean, if not having a plan is costing us grant money, then, or at least opportunities for it,
Yeah.
it's probably a little,
late.
well, it is, but I mean, it's a higher priority than I thought it was.
Yeah, I think it should
So-
be.
Well, and when we were
Yeah.
looking at it a while back to look at other things, like some of the downtown stuff that's come up, if you go back to the comp plan, you have accomplished a tremendous amount of what was in that old plan. And there's a few things that haven't been done, like the community center was mentioned in there. It was mentioned to be over by where the maintenance barn is now. So it had a different flavor back then. But a lot of the other projects you needed to do or wanted to do have been accomplished. And that's another reason to take the plan and redo it so that you can move it forward and not have all that already completed tasks in there.
are there any other
Yeah.
towns nearby that have community centers that are successful or a model out there like Auburn or?
Auburn, but it's a Y, right?
Then New Haven just
And that
announced,
was in our comp plan too, it said to partner with the
didn't
Y
they just
to do a
announce they were
community
building
center.
one?
They're building something down there. I don't know
Yeah.
what.
Did you hear what they're building over there?
New
I'm
Haven.
sorry, I wasn't.
New Haven.
They announced they're building something.
Uh,
A big park.
Oh, big part.
okay.
It's in the major soccer fields and all that, they're trying to capitalize on youth sports.
So I think we have a good plan. I'm fine with, if you two wanna work together and maybe pull some community involvement in and start at least formulating questions and dialogue there. But again, I wanna make sure it's buildable, we're not wasting dollars. And,
Well, our time isn't wasting any money.
no, but I'm saying like, no, you guys you're accounted
Nobody
for.
cares about our time.
No.
So, but yeah, so I mean, I just wanna make sure that we're heading down a road that makes sense at the end and is gonna align with the money that we need to
Well,
ask
trying
for
to
as
get
far
your
as
soil
grants.
done in 45 days.
And it's
I
another,
mean, we should be really working,
hopefully,
pretty far along with our plan,
right,
questionnaires, so get it out right after. And once we get a green light on the questionnaires, in my opinion, you move forward or you don't.
right,
I would imagine that the town's gonna want it, but
so.
I'm guessing.
Is
You
there
think so? What, like, ratio wise, if it's $10 million project now, grant money in the past, have we seen, like, hey, can you get half of that from grants? Can you get 3/4? Do you have any idea of what is possible?
Totally varies.
Totally.
Yeah, so, and it, like, to get to the point of applying for a grant, you have to have a budget, so you really have to know where you're at, what you want, you have to be able to produce that you have, done the surveys to find out what people want, so you have backing, because a lot of funders don't wanna give you money if you can't prove it's needed or wanted.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep going back to get our ducks in a row, so that when we go to make those requests, we have a complete story to tell, and we can answer all the questions, like, how many square foot, and what would it cost,
Well, and then we're on the right path, let's get
Yep.
moving on this.
alright,
I mean, we should have been doing it 4 or 5 months ago, and I
Right.
know we all got off track, but.
so,
And we have a lot going. I mean, we're
Oh, I know.
overlapping that with some really major projects like Amstutz Road.
That's gonna have a lot of
We
complaints.
have a lot
Amherst
going.
Road Trail Project,
Mm-hmm.
so. Any further discussion on this? I mean, I think if you two wanna work together.
Or Scott, it doesn't, he
Go ahead.
brought a group
You
text.
three
doesn't
figure it
matter.
out, you
Yeah.
three figure it out, what you
Yes.
wanna do there,
Yeah.
and we'll move forward.
Okay.
Get with me,
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah,
So, any other
Scott's board.
miscellaneous business or?
Well, there's something, we've been kind of pushing, it's the, committee that Angela brings up on the
Yeah.
investment.
Oh, the investment committee?
How are we doing on that?
She was gonna send us an email. Angela?
Cause I think we've just been pushing that down for months now.
Any reports have been submitted, then I will get a hold of everybody to get down and talk about that.
I gotta deal with money.
So you're gonna send us an email, you said, when you get back?
Yeah, once I have the financial reports submitted, can you hear me?
Hold on one second.
Yes, we can hear you.
Now it's not, now it's less. Go ahead.
Once I have the annual financial report submitted and all of the year-end completed, I'll have a better idea of what numbers we have for the year-end and what we can look at for 2024. And then I will get a hold of you guys so we can talk about it.
Okay. So we're looking at what, probably the 1st of February then, for everything to be?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll look for that communication out in the 1st of February.
Okay.
I'm working on it. You're loving this, aren't you? So, is there any other miscellaneous business or stuff that we need to handle? Next meeting, Tuesday, February 6th at 5 p.m. And then upcoming meetings is the Park Board, February 12th. Planning Commission, February 12th. Is that going to be needed? Do you know, Tina? Planning Commission?
At this point, I don't have anything for Plan Commission.
And then BZA would be at 7 on February 12th, and then Stormwater Board is the 14th at 7:30 in the morning. Nothing else? Meeting? What?
No, big ranger.
The
Me.
email that I saw about the recycling center, is that something we're gonna bring up at another meeting?
I think we need, I would like to get it on the agenda to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I forgot.
Or under, you're at miscellaneous.
Can we do it under miscellaneous? So there, if we can, I mean, I'll talk about it. I believe it was in November, Republic came to us and said that they were going to be no longer staffing the trailers over there, that it would go to, if we wanted to, they'd take it to a basically front tipper dump site. People could bring their recycles, throw them in there, and then go. I think the concern from Tenna, if I remember correctly, in the town was, in the office, was the fact that right now it's open on Saturdays, but we don't have staff on Saturdays. So how are we gonna leave it open till 5 or 6 o'clock at night? And our staff all leave at 4:30 or 5? Or how, we don't have staff on Saturdays, so how are we gonna open and close the gates? We'll have to call staff in to open the gates in the morning and then close the gates in the evening. And that's when I made the reference that, you know, we open it during business hours and that's it.
Why are we offering recycling?
That was the other conversation that was part of that
I
meeting.
pay for recycling in my house.
So do I.
And I just put it in a can and I wheel it out. It's an option for everybody in this town. Well, my wife puts it in the can, my wife wheels it out. I see that I got the stink eye there. But, so I mean, it's offered. If it wasn't offered to people in our town, I'd be all for it.
And I think that was the conversation, is that we needed some way to control it. And it should probably be behind the gates, because otherwise we're gonna end up with people's
I
mattresses.
don't think we should offer it all.
So, and that's when I suggested that it be from that, you know, whatever it is, 8 to 4:30 or
Well,
whatever.
you mentioned maybe the next bid,
Right.
public.
Have Republic or whoever's bidding it, bid it as part of, like Fort Wayne, they actually give you, from my understanding, on your bill, they give you a recycling can. And, you can have as many recycling cans as you want, but you only can have one trash can. And they don't charge you extra, it's like $1 extra. And we're paying, I don't know what it is, it's
What are we paying?
$16 a month for recycling.
Oh,
That's every 3 months.
that's every three.
It's
Yeah,
every
it's
3
every
months.
quarter. It's
Yeah.
really cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I pay the bill and go on,
She does that too.
I don't necessarily, unfortunately, look at it real close, but
So the town doesn't pay for that right now, and we don't staff it.
nope, we have nothing in it, it's a
But
side
they're
offer.
not gonna staff it.
And we don't
We're
get
gonna have
any
a
money
mess.
for
The
the
people are
use
still
of
gonna
land.
go, and they're just gonna throw it down. And then
Right.
we're gonna pay our guys to clean it.
Yeah, so why'd they decide not to staff it? What's the?
Tenant,
background?
I don't remember the exact rehash of the deal.
The basic summary was that the tonnage of recycling has dropped, but their expense has increased dramatically, so they're losing
Money against it.
money for offering it here.
Gotcha.
And part of that's because it's staff, so when they take away the staffing and it's a passive drop off, they're not losing as much.
Right, because they can send the truck out whenever they want to dump it.
And it's gonna create a bigger mess. It's gonna create a lot of problems.
Just like
More than that burn pile.
in the past.
It'll be a burn pile. So, I mean, I think we need to probably gather a little more information on it. You know, figure out what it looks like in other communities. Because I know like Auburn has one of those drop-off sites. It's immaculately kept. I don't know how Auburn does it. I don't know if they send guys out there to clean it, but it's super convenient for the people in the town. But they also have it tucked away in an area that you drive along the street and they're angled off and it's all nice and neatly kept.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that looks like for us because we can't. It's behind a locked gate here. So how do we have to create an area to put it that is easily accessible, and what that looks like?
Why could, if they're just using front end loaders, those would be what, the
7-yard dumpster.
7-yard dumpsters?
Or 9 or whatever they are.
Yeah, so why couldn't we have the gate shut and have 2 or 3 of those up front? We've got a Bobcat right there, right?
Right.
And so when we had like you know, the fireworks or whatever event coming up, if we ever get the sheriff's department to come back or whatever, we could open the gates, you know, during the day, and then we could have the guys pick those up and take them up to the top of the hill and out of the way. But if we had them down there in that parking lot, it would be more open and right in front of the road. There might not be as many shenanigans if you're right there
I
in
think
front
this
of the
goes on
park.
our mailer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think.
The trouble is
That
that
was,
was,
that was the mailer too last time.
I
There's-
like
Are people gonna use it, or is
I-
it people
yeah.
from Fort Wayne coming out?
the
Yeah.
recycling site goes away, when does it officially close? I don't think it's happened yet, but I don't
Well,
remember.
It's not closing, it's just not manned,
But the trailers are going away
at the end of this month.
in this month.
Mm.
So
I
that's,
mean,
So there will be
Yeah.
new ones put in, and they will be the self-serve drop-off kind.
I
And they
think
do
that
have
needs to be on there.
covers, but
Yeah.
some people get shoved stuff in, it's not like they're getting rained on, but,
How important rate up from like 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 or
I
whatever?
mean, you know how it is, everybody orders Amazon. I mean, my garage is full of Amazon boxes all the time. I love it, you know, just for the cardboard. I couldn't fit I mean, we don't shop anymore. I couldn't fit the amount of cardboard that I get in a recycling can. But that's just me, so that's selfish, but I don't know if,
you can't. I mean,
That's why we put it on there, and
yeah.
if it's something people love, then clearly we address that.
I mean, the cardboard containers over there, there's probably 5 of them, dumpsters, and they're always full. So I think there's,
well, the trailers don't get full, but
Yeah.
the issue is I don't, so, step back, when I was in youth group at church, we had done this to several different locations in Leo, and it started out with a simple, cardboard, and next thing you know,
Yeah.
of course, back then it was phone books ended up in there, and then the next thing you know, grandma's couch ended up in there, and then, you know what I mean? It just, it was slowly, so the question is, if they're not manning it,
right,
and we end up with a chair sitting outside there, it becomes our headache to clean up.
right.
So, and I'm for recycling, but how do we do it well? And the problem is now we gotta come up with a stopgap between January and when this mailer goes out to,
Well, have them bring the things, and I think whoever said it, put them in front of the gate right now.
Right.
Keep them
I like
locked until we figure it out, and if we see a massive problem,
I'm Greg.
all right, I said whoever, I don't remember.
it's great.
What Greg said, and if we have a massive problem in the next 2 months, then we know this ain't gonna stop.
Stop.
Yeah.
So
And we can pull them at any point.
Yeah.
And the other
Be a good
plus,
trial, actually.
the other plus to this is really, if we have problems, we're going to, that are gonna miss the dumpster and it's gonna fall down on the ground and it's like, nobody's looking, and go away, that's a long way from our neighbor, blowing back up the hill into his property. And I think we need to keep our neighbor up there in mind of whatever we do. We've already, I don't wanna say.
Yeah, I'll flat out say it's ugly up there.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is,
that's ugly.
it is.
As a consensus, we'll allow
Yeah.
tenant employees here to figure out the best location for that dumpster outside the gate.
It's winter, so it'll be easy.
Right.
Summer might be a lot more, strategically placed. But people ain't hanging out at the park right now.
No, we're all right.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we need to get too into the weeds as
Nope.
far as our hands in the exact location, right? Go ahead, Rick.
I just thought of one other thing that's gonna be backlashed, is there's gonna be somebody or some buddies that are gonna say, that park's only 75 yards from that dumpster, now we gotta look at that dumpster. So that's gonna lead us into, do we dump, 2 or 3 tracks or loads of stones over there, expand it, put a fence around it now so the people in the park can't see it.
I think we take a 3 or 4 month trial, then,
There you go.
and if
But I'm just
if
foreseeing.
people love it, we
something-
need to do something
I'm
nice.
foreseeing something
To
in
hide
the
it, yeah.
future.
Well, we
See what
would,
I'm thinking? I can,
I think we address that and
when it comes.
see how well it gets used.
I can hear the person's voice right now.
So.
We'll give them Brian's number,
Oh, why he's looking at me?
because we're giving him your number.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so if there's no other miscellaneous business, then anybody else have anything? Meeting adjourned?